Okay, welcome to another episode of the Joe Dunnrite Show. Today we're going to talk about Hoyt archery. And you've seen in some of my other videos that I look at products that I've had and I give you a review. And for the most part, those have all been pretty positive. But today I have to share a negative experience I have with Hoyt archery. So I've been shooting archery for over 40 years. and the first great Hoyt archery bow that I bought was in 1986. It was the Hoyt Pro Hunter, and it was a great bow. I love that bow. Um, I shot it competitively in tournaments. I hunted with it, did very well with it. I love that bow. And I had an incident when I was out hunting that I slipped and dropped the bow and it damaged the limb. And I called Hoyt up in Salt Lake City, and Sandy, who no longer works there, had me send the bow up, and she said, "Don't worry, we'll get it fixed." And she fixed it for free, and it was my fault. And I told her it was my fault. And the customer service was amazing, and that was 30 years ago. So in 2006, I had a bull elk archery tag, and I went into the archery shop here in town and said, "Hey, can you tune up my Pro Hunter?" And he said, "Dude, this thing's 20 years old. We can't work on it. It's not in the same technology. I'm sorry." So I bought a Hoyt Laser Tech in 2006. And this turned out to be a really nice bow at the time. I think I paid $600, maybe even 1,000. I don't remember. But it was I bought it based on the reputation. I bought it because Hoyt took care of me. I didn't even shoot another bow. I just bought this. So I hunted with it, did well that year, did well with it in 2013, and here it is, 2020, and the bow is 14 years old. And the problem is these things here called limb rockers are cracking. And it's a piece of plastic, and my buddy has one. We bought them the same time, and his is actually cracked way worse. And he's the one that noticed the cracks and said, "Hey, you need to check your Hoyt. The cracks are cracking." So I called Hoyt and I said, "Hey, I got this Hoyt Laser Tech. I need these parts." And they said, "Okay, no problem, but we can't sell them to you. Go to a dealer." So at the time I was in Illinois at the property, so I called up a couple of different Hoyt dealers, and they said, "Okay, no problem, we'll order them." Well, 5 weeks later, I still hadn't gotten the parts. Hoyt had shipped 2 parts that were wrong, and finally admitted after 5 weeks that they don't sell those parts anymore. So here we have a bow that's perfectly good shape, brand new strings on it, but the little plastic rockers, limb rockers, are broken. And I've got to hunt in about a month, hence the reason I wanted to get it fixed. So my dissatisfaction is that I have this a piece of equipment that's 14 years old. And some people might say, "Well, dude, it's 14 years old. Go buy a new one." Well, the new Hoyts are running about 16 or 1700 bucks. By the time you put all the accessories on them, you're over 2,000. And I just can't do it. I can't buy a product from a company who can't support their products in the field. And I equate this archery bow with a firearm. I have firearms that are 70, 80 years old that I can still get parts for. I have a Winchester that I bunged up one of the screws that was made in the 50s, and I was able to get the screw online. So my disappointment is here I've got this perfectly good bow that I can't, I can probably hunt with it in a month, but long term it's no good because of a $2 part. The parts are actually under $40 for a set, but I mean, it's a piece of plastic. They probably cost them $1 to make. So I can't endorse Hoyt anymore. I scraped the Hoyt sticker off my truck. Can't tell people to buy Hoyt. And I guess I would really question why you would buy a Hoyt. If you can't get parts for a product because they don't support it in the field, it's worthless. And I think that a company like Hoyt should support their products in the field. Now, there's nothing wrong with this bow. It's not unsafe as a design. Like my old Pro Hunter was old. And I get it, the technology had changed, but this bow is still a very good bow. It shoots literally 10 feet per second slower than a brand new bow. My buddy actually just bought a Hoyt, which I scolded him for, and he said his bow shoots 297 feet per second. His brand new $2,000 bow, and this bow here shoots 285, so we're talking 12 feet per second slower. And I'll tell you, you know, it's hunting, not shooting. We hunt under 40 yards. This bow should be capable of lasting a lot longer than 14 years. I should be able to go in, order these parts, and take it into through my dealer. You can see the crack right there. It's right there. Take it into my dealer. He should be able to order the parts. And Randy over at Archery Headquarters was very good. He said, "Yeah, we can do it. We'll get the parts. They're under 40 bucks. We'll charge you 20 to put them in. No big deal." So, you know, it was going to be a $65 repair. However, Randy found out also that Hoyt doesn't sell the parts. So here I am. I got a bow. What am I going to do? Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. After my hunt, I'm going to take this bow apart. I'm going to take those parts out, and I'm going to call up my buddy, Mike, and I'm going to say, "Mike, can you machine me 2 of these out of aluminum?" And he'll probably say sure, and he'll probably you know, charge me a 12-pack of Corona or something, not the coronavirus, but Corona beer, or maybe something else. But he'll do it for me, and I'll put the bow back into service. But I'm disappointed that I can't get parts for something. Your car, I have an old Geo Tracker that's 30 years old. You can still get. I just bought a brake line for it. You still get parts for old cars. You can get parts for motorcycles. You can get parts for guns. You know, Hoyt, come on, please. Get your act together, figure out why you can't buy parts, get parts, and support your products in the field. I did talk to one of the largest archery dealers in the United States. I called around. I actually called other stores across the U.S. to see if anybody had these parts. And he said, "I stopped selling Hoyt because they're too expensive and you can't get parts for them." So think about it. Maybe you go buy something else. There's Matthews, there's Bowtech, there's PSE. But I would really, before I bought any new bow, I'd make sure that the company is going to support the parts in the field. Because this thing, it should last, you know, I don't think it's going to last 50 years, but it should last 20 or 30 years. I mean, it should be, there's nothing wrong with it. The technology is still good. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Thanks for joining the Joe Dunnrite Show. I hate to be negative, but I just can't support Hoyt anymore. So, you know, maybe Hoyt will reach out to me and we can have another talk. But I did talk to one of the representatives on numerous occasions over the last 5 weeks, and I won't mention his name, but he was not very helpful, and I'm kind of disappointed. So, again, thanks for watching the Joe Dunnrite Show. We'll talk again real soon. Thanks.